Hi everyone, this is Jessica Petty. Welcome to Chandler Baptist Preschool's Year of Art 2020-2021. We are going to just walk through the hallway and get to see what the kids do. They've had fun creating this year, and I've had a lot of fun teaching their art classes. Your little artists have been so much fun, so thank you for sharing them with us. I'm just going to walk you through the hallway and you can see what we've done this year. We have had fun exploring the world's cultures. We did some ancient Greek vases, and these were pretty fun. We watched a video about how ancient Greek citizens, they used to they made their own kilns, and we talked about red figured and black figured clay, their pottery, and then the students, we made columns because we all did our own vases, so we made columns, and then they each got a vase that they colored with crayon, and then I painted a coat of black paint mixed with a few drops of dish soap, like Dawn, and you mix it together and you paint it right over their crayon work and let it dry. And then they used popsicle sticks to scratch. This is like a scratch art technique. And so then they use their popsicle sticks to scratch away the black paint, and then you see the crayon underneath. And so this was how we did our own ancient Greek pottery, and there's kind of our example that we worked towards. So I think they really enjoyed that. They had a lot of fun. This is our prehistoric cave. We started out the year actually with our collaborative cave wall here. Each student, they had their own piece of cave wall, and then they had shapes that they put paint on and then essentially just stamped, and then they could make whatever markings that they wanted to. So when they were all done, we did this cave wall and put them all together. We read the book, The Cave Painter at Lascaux, which was really fun. So we talked about prehistoric people and who lived in caves and how they painted the world around them. So they had stamps of people and animals that they used. That was fun. It's been fun to walk through the cave every day. We moved on to Japan, and during springtime, they all did their own cherry blossoms. We read Sakura's Cherry Blossoms, the book, but we watched a video with a read aloud. And then this was really fun. So we did Japanese cherry blossom scrolls. And so what we did for this was I went around with, they all had this blue paper, and so then I went around with watered down black paint and a dropper and put a line of paint down each of their scrolls, and then they all had their own straw, and they just blew the paint every which way to make like little branches. And some of our younger friends, they had trouble with the straw, so I gave them a paintbrush so they could move their paint around, and that worked really well. And then they glued on different colors of pink tissue paper for our cherry blossoms. And then you'll see at the top, I looked up their name like on a Japanese name converter website, and a lot of the names don't translate into Japanese language. So the markings at the top are what the name is closest to in Japanese. And then we moved on to Africa. So we talked about African animals, and then we watched the read aloud of the spider weaver. And that was about kind of the inspiration for kente cloth, which is a special sort of textile cloth in Ghana specifically, but it's made with different patterns. And so students had 2 pieces of paper to do that. And so on one paper, they used stamp markers to make, to fill their paper with, stamps. And so we used that for a pattern. And then the other paper was white. And then they glued black strips down. And then I wove those together for them so we could finish up our kente cloth patterns. But they had fun making the patterns. And then the African landscapes, those were just torn pieces of paper. We talked about sunsets and warm colors, the reds, oranges, and yellows. And then we made silhouettes with the trees, and they picked an animal in the black foreground. We ended the year with Mexican folk art. And so we did suns. These are really fun. We talked about simple shapes and bright, bold colors and pattern that folk art uses. We didn't have time to read the read aloud, but it was Cuckoo. If you want to check that out, it's a really fun little book about just some inspiration for folk art. And so students on these, I had the circles for their suns. We folded them in half, and I put paint on them. Again, we talked about warm colors because we used the red, the orange, and yellow. And so we put paint on them and then squished them, folded them in half, and then squished the paint together to move the paint around. And that's always fun. And then they made their own little face. They each got eyes, eyebrows, nose, and a mouth. And then they created the faces and did the sun rays. And then they could add patterns with red dots of paint. And these are so bright and cheerful. I mean, we just love looking at them. I just want to end with Picasso's quote. I love it. Every child is an artist.